We are at the Tallgrass Film Center. We do year-round events. I write intros for those. I'm writing an intro for Gremlins. We have Hellraiser this month. It's October. So this venue's open all year round. We do repertory screenings, shed light to older movies and such. And also, part of the film festival here is balloting. So you're going to get a text or an email. However you sign up through Eventive. It's part of the audience awards, so very important for the filmmakers. Make sure to vote, 5 being the highest. So make sure to get those votes out. I wrote a piece about the desexualization of modern filmmaking with Marvel films and all that. You know, it's hard to even see think of body parts underneath those costumes, and how it's a recent trend in America of basically shying away from anything sexual. So when we were able to get this program going and all these filmmakers here, I was really happy that we had a sold-out crowd. You guys all came, and especially the filmmakers for making a project. So give a round of applause for this. All right, so the Q&A section is going to go this way. Since we were a little late, I'm still going to rock and roll with what we've got. So I'm going to do one question, open up to the audience, a couple questions, then I'll close with one. So Melissa Simpson, producer of Come Correct, the first short. Come on up. So thank you for coming out. As producer, you oversee all sorts of things. This is going to kind of be a two-parter question. Okay. So what was the inspiration for the story? And got to tell me about that pineapple. What was that for?
Okay, I think she should be the one to answer the film inspiration question. Perfect. So I'm going to hand over to Molly.
Yep. I'm Molly. I'm the director of Come Correct. Madison Pineapple, who starred as Agnes, the uptight woman in the film, she actually wrote it, and she intended to direct the film herself because it was a very personal story for her, because she has been married to a cis white hetero dude since she was right out of 21, so about 13 years, and has just recently been exploring her queerness. And so I was very lucky that the film kind of fell into my lap, and then it kind of turned into a couple of afternoons of me and Melissa and our friend Bridget Wheeler and Madison sitting on a back porch and hanging out and just talking about our own queer experiences and being bisexual and how that fits into the landscape of what is queer enough and whatnot. And so all the jokes kind of came from our own experiences. The pineapple was totally Madison's joke. Even though the script was very long, it was something 24 pages originally, and we got it down to 14. The pineapple was always in there.
There is actually a Come Correct coming out starter pack playlist on Spotify. So if you look it up, we actually, all of us put songs in. So there is actually Ani Franco and Sleepy Kitty on it. Tegan and Sarah, you know.
Yeah. So we got the cozy venue. So no mic, so just shout out who wants to go first. First question. Anybody? Anybody for these two? All right. I got my last question, which is, what's next for y'all? What are you going to be doing?
So we play at Seattle Queer in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, we cannot afford to go to that one because we poor. It's not been too kind to us. But we're also playing New Orleans beginning of November, so
awesome.
we'll be there.
We're at the beginning of our film festival.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We got a question.
Did you have an intimacy coordinator on set? And what was that experience like? How did you manage that?
We did. Christina actually is really great. She was our intimacy coordinator. We had 2 rehearsal sessions even prior to ever being in the hotel room. That was me, the DP, who was also female, the intimacy coordinator, and our 2 actors. And we rehearsed 2 days just walking through all the camera moves and positions and just kind of talking about it. We had things like intimacy garments and things, so she was actually never completely nude. And we honestly were very, very careful, and we were very respectful, and they almost were like a little too gung-ho. Like they like kind of sometimes like forgot like that we were like they would like jump up like afterwards. We were like, no, give us a second to like, you know, bring clothes and robes and like all that kind of stuff. And I was worried because Hannah and Madison knew each other really well, and I was kind of nervous about that ahead of time because, you know, like someone who's like your friend, you know, it might have made it harder, but they were amazing in the whole process. And there were a couple of times during the actual oral sex scene that Hannah called Madison by her name, Madison, which was but it was great.
Our cast and crew also were all female and non-binary, so it was very, and largely queer, so it was a very refreshing experience, and it was, I've never had a shoot kind of run like that, and it was a really magical experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's great to have female directors, so thank you so much for coming out. All right, next up, Shaquita Smith, the director of Dick Control.
Yay.
Right on.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey. So, my first question, as far as the role of a director, I really appreciated the location and the actors you got, especially to get an actor to say Big Doocy. That's awesome. So tell me a bit about the location scouting and casting process.
The location scouting was me on Pure Space.
Okay.
I was looking for a mansion that looks like a rapper's house.
Yeah.
And so on Pure Space, I found this place in Woodland Hills that wasn't that house. It was another house, and there was a Russian couple that owned this house that they made look like a hip hop, like a rapper's house. They used it for videos.
Cool.
So I looked at their house and I was like, oh, it's still kind of small. Oh, we have a bigger house down the street. And so they took me to that house, and there was like the dog, and it was like their like plaques and stuff, like the hustle thing, that was theirs.
Oh,
So they had everything kind of in place. I was like, okay, this is great. So we shot it one day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that is impressive. So how about your actors? How did you find them?
Curtis, he had played Dr. Dre in the Lifetime movie, Michelle A's Lifetime movies. He played Dr. Dre and he was really good in that.
Awesome.
And then he was on Insecure.
Okay.
So I left him on there. He was funny on there. And I was like, I think this guy, like, he's cute enough to be like a Drake where, like, he can get away with bad behavior. Because women, I don't know why we do this, but if he's cute enough, it's just like, oh, you know, he's not so bad. So it's like, I thought he would be great. And he agreed to do it. Like, we had some mutual friends. He was on a show on OWN. My friend was on. And so he agreed to do it. So he was first. And then I was trying to cast people over the Christmas holiday, like in 2021. It was a nightmare. The guy who played Cuddy was one of my best friends, but I made him audition anyway.
Yeah.
But everybody was good. Everybody came in and they were professional. They did their job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Shaquita? Yep.
I just want to say I absolutely loved the film. I love the tone. Your cast was great. I loved how you executed this theme, which it's just, the tone was just, that's so hard to do with comedy, and you just did such a great job. And it was it just sustained, and it made me laugh, and it was, you know, it was a lesson, but like a lesson that was like a lovely meal, at least for me. And I just thought, again, I just can't say enough about your tone. It's great.
Thank you. And that was a lot of Curtis. Like, you can't really train actors how to do comedy. They just know how to do it. So, like, even when he fell in the bed, like, I'm counting the laughter. Like, okay, they're going to get this. Like, we fell in the bed. I didn't direct that. He just did that. So, like, I mean, the faces he was making and stuff, that was just him. Like, he asked me what the character background was, and I wrote it down for him, and he just came to set, like, just ready to go.
Oh, that's
Special.
all right. Anybody else? Yep.
Love the film, love the world played, and really curious about where your idea came from.
Okay, so I used to intern with Def Jam when I was in college at NC State, and Rockefeller, Def Jam, and so a lot of the artists would come into town. So Memphis Bleak was one of Jay-Z's best friend or whatever. He came in town with some guys, and they had some hoes, and the girls were like, I guess I looked like I was their age or whatever, so one of the guys thought I was a hoe, and he came up to me and was just like, are you fucking? And I was like, no, I'm with a record company.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, Alicia, where it was just like, I was like getting drawn in, like, why am I in it? And so, yeah, it was like stuff like that would always happen, and so this story kind of always was in the back of my head. And so when the Meg Thee Stallion Tory situation happened, where it's like, how do you get shot, but you're the person they're blaming? And so just like the disrespect of women in hip hop, it's like it needed to be addressed. And so I'm like, what if Drake messes with the wrong woman and
Right.
she puts a curse on him? Like, what is he gonna do about that? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. What is next for you?
We want to do this as a feature, so we're at the end of our run. This is festival number 19.
Cool. Wow.
We've won 5, so it's been really cool.
Good.
Get
And
those
then
votes up.
now that we're off, well, kind of out of the strike, hopefully going to be selling some projects. I'm a screenwriter, so
Awesome.
that's what I do.
Cool, 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 cool. Well, thank you so much for coming out. All right. Actor Mallory Corrine Isaacs. Give it to me. Come on up. Hey, welcome, welcome. All right, so I have a question. What was the first thoughts when you got the script for this short?
It was like kind of a classic casting situation. I like didn't know anybody, and when I saw the script, I was really excited about just like the normalization of queer sex, the normalization of sex work, like the legitimacy of sex work, and I think those were the original appeals of the script to me.
Yeah.
Just like creating like a safe environment to show those things and like respectably. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super important. Anybody got any questions? Yeah.
Did you know your fellow actress before, or you just met?
I did not. Yeah.
Good question.
Incredible performances,
Yeah.
both of you. I just
Seriously.
thought it was such a deeply nuanced film. I really, really loved it. So I just wanted to,
Appreciate it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else got any comments or questions? All right. So what is next?
It's going through its festival circuit right now.
Yeah.
I know,
Totally.
like when we shot it, originally they were saying like this is kind of a proof of concept where they want to create a series where they follow Lucy, which is my character, and kind of like one-off experiences, like kind of showing like different experiences with different clientele, and then also just how she navigates her own personal life as a sex worker as well. So that's kind of in development, and we'll see how that goes.
Cool. We'll look forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Director, writer, producer, and actor Jen Harris for She's Clean.
I want to apologize.
Yeah,
I
no
turned in one with the subtitles at the bottom, so I don't know what happened. So sorry if that was hard to hear, but anyway.
Yeah.
I followed your rules, I promise.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Definitely know you're. Question: as far as being a director and a writer, what is it like being in front of the camera and behind the camera?
Well, I've been an actor for 20 years and I started directing the last thing. The past like 7, I've been writing and directing, maybe a little bit more with the writing, but I think I'm comfortable being in charge, and I think as an actor, I often found myself paying attention to things that weren't my job, and sometimes would get off a little bit on set, and so when I noticed myself paying attention to other things, it was sort of like, well, what's an avenue for this? And it's producing and directing. And also it was easier for me to just use myself in this film. I wrote it, I didn't know if I was going to use myself, but it was the pandemic, and my DP was Charlie Grouet from High Maintenance and the other two,
Oh yeah.
and he was very adamant. He was like, this is yours, you need to do this.
Yeah.
And which was great, because often, well, I'll speak for myself, there's a little bit of nerves of like, I'm an actor and I'm also now going to direct this, and also navigating how technically we were going to do that, because then it would be cut, okay, let me see, bring it over, like, how, you know, also squeegee the shower, I've got it, like, we don't have to, like, let's go, you know, so there was a lot of that, but because I was the director, I mean, I'm also comfortable, and but I made all the decisions, so that was easy for me.
Thank you for sharing your experience. I was going to say I really appreciated the cinematography. Like it was, you
Wow.
have an eye, so yeah,
Thank
keep
you.
that up. Somebody have a question?
I was actually going to ask the size of your crew and how you dealt with nudity between yourself and the male actors.
Yeah, sure. The size of our crew, I think because we had a COVID compliance officer, it was October of 21. So almost 2 years ago, maybe there was 9 crew.
Okay, I was just sorry. I was thinking of that space and trying to.
Oh,
figure out
yeah,
how
yeah.
to
Well,
manage.
that bathroom, I mean, that was a whole duplex, and where were we? I don't even remember. Brooklyn? Somewhere in Brooklyn. I mean, that we shelled out for that place. So it was a lot of space. Everybody had rooms. Like, we had to have it because of COVID. And that bathroom, yeah, it was what it was, but we shot from outside, we shot underwater, we shot from every angle from that bathroom. And how we navigated the scenes. I'm sorry, the other question was, or the intimacy.
Yeah.
Brooke M. Haney was an intimacy coordinator, brilliant, that we worked with. Each scene, so there's 15 scenes, or 13, there's a director's cut. So we had a couple more actors, but I spoke with each actor individually after I gave them the offer and said, this is what I'm looking to capture for each scene. Are you comfortable with this? Are you not? There's one body double. We had garments. Brooke then spoke with them. We talked about everybody had an individual nudity rider, which was specific. And there's language that is below the waist, above the waist. There's certain types of touching above and below. But after that happened, and then when we got on set and talked about, I directed like sort of how we were going to do it with the camera. I wanted them to be free. I wanted these men to be free and one trans actor to be free. So we knew what we were doing, but super specific. That isn't what I wanted, because I wanted them to feel comfortable. And then Brooke spoke with them separately after I spoke with them, and they had questions for her that was individual from me, which is very specific, that they have someone to go to other than, that an actress, someone to go to other than the director to speak to. And they had really interesting questions for her, and yeah, it was great. It was a great experience. Thanks for asking.
Great question. Yeah, it's super important to know about intimacy coordinator. So what's next?
Well, we have I've developed this into a television show, but it is more like each episode stands alone, where each season we follow one character and each episode is about intimacy. So this is just physical intimacy. So another episode would be, if this was the character, intimacy with like her mother, her boss, a pet, you know, and then the next season would be kind of like In Treatment, if you know that show.
Yeah.
So each season is a new star, a new person, but it deals with intimacy. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming out, Jen.
Thank you.
All right. Just joining me, writer, producer, and lead actor, Kylie Alessa. All right. So kind of a similar question, but a little different here. As being the writer and then also the actor, what was it like performing your written word on the script?
Oh yeah, I mean, there was that moment, I think, like when I had been like developing the script, where like then I had to be like, oh, now I have to do this. And I remember like the first couple of rehearsals, just feeling like it was so rehearsed, because I just knew the lines so well, and I knew how they were supposed to sound, and there definitely